I want to again welcome all of you. My name again is Bruce Hurwitz, and you are here for a talk on building a brand to attract customers or clients. And everything I am going to say is also relevant for job seekers. The idea is it is better to have your customers and clients and potential customers and clients come after you than you have to run after them. But the only way they can know about you is if you are out in public. And I'm going to show you today how to get out in public free. With the exception of a website, everything I'm going to talk about are free services. What is a brand? It's your reputation. And you cannot create or determine what your reputation is. You can try to guide people, but if you don't fulfill your promises, your reputation will be something totally different than what you want. Just remember, it's not created by you. Now, I like to begin with some warnings because there are a lot of people out there who try to sell you a bill of goods. First thing is people will come to you and say, we will sell you or we will get you followers on Facebook, connections on LinkedIn. We have lists. Well, they have lists, but they're phony. If a person is on one list, it's not a list that's only being given to you. It's being given to 1,000 other people. It's not real. So you have to watch out. And it's the old saying, caveat emptor, and if it's too good to be true, it's probably not. Then you have print. I like old school. Everything today is over the computer. Getting something in the mail that's not a bill and that's not junk is sometimes kind of nice. But let's look at three things that, please turn off your cell phones. Let's look at three things that most business owners have printed up. The first is a business card. You all have my business card. The business card is like a handshake. A firm handshake sends one message, a limp handshake. You want some weight to it. But garbage. If after hearing this presentation you like me, what are you going to do? You're going to go home. You're going to enter my information into your computer, your smartphone, what have you, and then you're going to throw the card away. If you don't like me, you're going to throw the card away. One way or another, that card is being dumped. So you don't want to spend a lot of money on business cards. That said, thank you cards are very much appreciated. You have some blank thank you cards printed up with your logo on it. You start sending them out to people. It's a way to build a relationship. One of the tools that I used in starting my business. Stationery, for the most part, you really don't need. Everything's through email. But if you have to send a letter, you want the paper to have some consistency. So it's important to spend a little bit of money on nice paper. The logo shouldn't have a lot of light colors to it. You want to be able to duplicate it, print it out using your own printer. You want to make sure that it all looks professional. You're going to do your own heading. You can do a lot of things today on the computer. Then you have, that wasn't good. There we go. Then you have gifts that you give out. They are all dated. A calendar expires December 31st. A pad of paper when the last sheet of paper is gone. A pen when it runs out of ink. The one thing you can give that will not be thrown out is a book. This is a book that I self-published. Those of you who signed up using Eventbrite, I sent you a code that if you want, you can download the book for free. If you didn't get it, send me an email. I'll be happy to share it with you. A self-published book that's business-related is really a thick brochure. You go to a printer, you have them print it up. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you give someone a book, it gives you credibility. A woman in California purchased this book. She shared it with 3 friends. All 4 became clients. That covered all my costs. After that, everything was profit. A book is a great thing to give out because it lasts. Now, email blasts. There are all sorts of companies that will help you to send out emails to the world, and they may even provide you with lists. On LinkedIn now, they've changed their system, and it's very easy to download the emails of all of your first-degree connections. But there's a problem. If you send out unsolicited emails and people mark them spam, for example, if it goes to Gmail, then Gmail will restrict your domain. And everything you send will go into spam. So be very careful. But there's another thing to worry about, and that's the Canned Spam Act. For every email you send that does not follow these 7 rules, you can be fined up to $16,000. So if you send out 100 emails, that's 100 times 16,000, which by my math is $1.6 million. Show of hands. How many people can afford to stay in business if the FTC fines them $1.6 million? Thank you very much. Enough said. And one day, the FTC will decide to make an example out of someone. So what I do when I get a call from someone who's telling me that they can handle mass emails for me, I ask them one question. What are the 7 rules for sending out emails according to the Canned Spam Act? If they're professional, they'll know it off by heart. They never know it, the ones that call me. I don't know them off by heart. But that's not, I'm not supposed to. I just know where to go and check. And the one that I highlighted for you is monitor what others are doing. You cannot say, well, I hired a company to handle it. I thought they were doing it correctly. Doesn't work. Something you will see on LinkedIn. How many of you have LinkedIn accounts? Good, that's what I thought. Obviously, this is not the photo. I faked it. But you'll have someone who will have their profile photo, and this what I call a ribbon, the seen-on ribbon. It is a con in most cases. There is a company that will say, we will get you on all the networks. But they don't mean in front of a camera. It's not as seen on. What they do is they send out a press release. TopRecommendedProfessionals.com announces top performers for the week of whatever. People pay for this. It gets picked up by the affiliates. They put it on their websites. And then the company that sent out the press release gives them permission to use the ribbon. It's phony. As a recruiter, when I see this, I question the person's ethics. I say, were you on television? No, it was just a press release. That tells me what I need to know about their ethics, and I'm not interested in submitting them to one of my clients. I wrote an article on LinkedIn regarding this, and people contacted me and said, you know, I was a little bit concerned about it. I paid the money, and you're right, I'm taking it down. Others don't care. Ethics matter. It's your reputation. It's your brand. We're talking about free media. And media has changed over the years. What it was 50 years ago is not what it is today, although everything that existed 50 years ago still exists today, and you don't want to totally ignore it. But now we're dealing with websites, blogs, social media. And there are all sorts of social media platforms, and what exists today, some of it will be gone tomorrow, and there'll be new ones taking over. You have to choose which platform is right for your business. What we're going to look at is a website, LinkedIn, and 5 other sites. And we'll go over. I do not like reading slides. All right? So I'll only do it when I actually want to make sure everybody knows what's on the slide. Any finance people here? Anyone in financial services? Don't be shy. Everything that I'm going to say, pretty much, if you do it, you will be fired because you have compliance officers. But there's a way around it, and I'll explain it. If you're going to go public, you have to have thick skin because someone is going to be offended. You're going to say something totally innocent, or you're going to write something totally innocent. Somebody's going to be offended. Somebody's going to attack you. If you can't take it, don't do this. Why should you believe me? This is why. What I'm telling you to do, I have done. Now, just because I have been successful doesn't mean you will be. There are no guarantees. But since May of 2010, I've been quoted in over 600 articles. This here, 15 citations per month, nonprofit. In a previous life, I was a nonprofit professional responsible for fundraising and marketing. I got my nonprofit into the press an average of 15 times a month, not including TV. And I also was able to kill 2 stories, which is a lot tougher than actually getting something in the paper. There are 2 interactions you will have with the media, reactive and proactive. Reactive is when they come to you. It's almost always negative. Proactive is when you go to them. If you send a press release to a producer, to an editor, to a reporter, it's going to be chunked. It's going to be thrown away. They are inundated with press releases. There's no end to it. They can't possibly respond to all of them. And they're not interested in your stories. The problem is most people don't understand who their audience is. When you send out a press release, you think your audience is your customer, your client, or potential customers and clients. It's not. Your audience is the reporter. The reporter's audience is her editor. Her editor's audience is the publisher. Those are the people who need to be pleased. You please the reporter, you're in. You don't please the reporter, you're not in. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to show you how you can always please the reporter. There are 3 things you can do with the media. You can buy ads. Every reporter, every sales rep for a media outlet will tell you the same thing. Sales and editorial, totally separate. Yeah, technically, but if you send a press release to an editor, it's going in the garbage. If you send it to your sales rep, and your sales rep hands it to an editor, it may not go in the garbage. But a press release, like an ad, doesn't give you much credibility. Another putting in, you're paying for it. If you got somebody and they really need some connection to the publication, they put it in. It's your words. It's not, doesn't give you a lot of credit. However, if you're quoted in an article, that gives credibility. So somebody's talking about financial services, and they say, according to so-and-so, well, whoever that is, they're named. There's hopefully a link or some mention of where they work and maybe their website. And if it's online, the URL is there. That gives you credibility. Now you're coming off as not somebody who pay to have an ad published. You're coming across as an expert. And that's what you want. Now, if nobody knows about it, you're the best kept secret, so you might as well be buried in the figurative cemetery. This is no time to be shy. My name is Natalie. I was doing research for one of my articles, and I found your page with career resources. She has a site, seems to be brand new, where she's giving advice on writing resumes. She found my website because of the page you're about to see, which is called Library, and on it has all my resources. This works. And this is my library page on my website. And what you have, I don't know if you can see it, but over here, there's a link to my LinkedIn Pulse articles. LinkedIn Pulse are the posts, the blogs that are written on LinkedIn by the members. There's a link also to my YouTube videos. Over here, these are radio, both terrestrial and satellite interviews that I've given, and podcasts. The page continues. The far left, you've got my own personal blog and 2 blogs that I've written for. Because of all the press that I received, HARO invited me to be an on-camera talent. There's a link, I don't remember if it's 49 or 59 videos. So here's a link. This is the continuation of the podcasts. Those are just the logos, please. Those are the logos of some of the publications where I've been published. This relates to my books. This is one podcast that I do, which is for the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. I host the weekly podcast, which is called The Voice of Manhattan Business. This is my own personal podcast, and if you're interested, contact me. If you have an interesting story to tell, you're more than welcome to come on. There's no charge. After the podcast, you have selected articles, and this goes down forever. Be about 4 divided into categories. I'm quoted in every one of them. Now we come to LinkedIn. If a website has 430 million members, users, is active in 200 countries, and was just sold for $26.2 billion, it's safe to assume it's important. All right, I'll go out on a limb. You have to have a profile on LinkedIn. And your profile begins with your photo. This I found absolutely fascinating. This woman used the photo on the left as her profile photo. She got an average of 500 views a month. Then she changed the one on the right, and it went up to 900. Her words, not mine, don't write any letters. She describes this one as ugly talking and this one as pretty pic. A man also did this. I saw it once and I couldn't find it again. Bathing suit. No bathing suit. Normal, professional, okay? And, shirtless in a bathing suit. Twice as many hits with the bathing suit than the professional picture. Now, all that means is people clicked on it. So, pretty girl. Let's see the photo. Let's see where she lives. Let's see what she does. But there's no interaction. It's not real. There's no business. It's just you want to look at a pretty girl. You want to look at a guy in a bathing suit. Okay, it's human nature. But if you really want to be found, what you need to make certain you've done correctly is your location and your industry. Now, if you are an accountant working for an IT firm, your industry is not IT. Your industry is accounting. So it's your personal industry. When I am looking at candidates, I do a simple search, location and industry. I don't look at the profile. Who has time? If you're interested in the job, you're going to send me your resume. I need the resume, not the profile. If you're not interested in the job, in my message to you, I'm going to ask you to share the message with possible other candidates. I'm not interested in their profiles. I'm only interested in their resumes. So there's no reason, and who has time to look at profiles? It's not like Google. If you do a search for an accountant in New York City on Google, you may literally get 1 million hits. You'll definitely get hundreds of thousands. On LinkedIn, that's not going to happen. I used to have, and I'll explain this in a bit, 30,000 first-degree connections. The largest cohort of results I ever got was maybe 1,500. I can send off 1,500 messages in an afternoon. It's not a big deal. I do it so often, I know exactly what to do. I don't even have to pay attention anymore. I can listen to the news, listen to a ball game, and it'll be done by the 9th inning. There's no LinkedIn searches are all based on your network. So if the two of us were doing a Google search from right here, because we're in the same location, we should get the same exact results. If we do the same search on LinkedIn, it's going to be different because this gentleman's first-degree connections are different from mine. So we don't have the same network. We're not looking through the same profiles. Yes, some we will have in common, but not all. You can use the top of your profile to send a message. This gentleman was looking for a job, open to new opportunities. Mr. Davis is looking for IT recruiters. You could also put in a tagline. What is it that you do? What is it that makes you special? Because when somebody receives your invitation to join their network, they're going to see your name and whatever is on this professional line, National Sales Account Manager, open to new opportunities. So if it grabs their attention, they'll look further. These will also come up counseling clients. I will do a search on LinkedIn for the keyword new opportunities. 80% are looking for a job. Now, new opportunities could also be in the body of the profile if it's a sales position. So this is somebody who creates new opportunities. And because the words new opportunities are in the profile, come up even though he's not looking for a job. Keywords. The thing today is everybody talks about keywords. Well, if your profile is honest, the keywords are there. You don't have to pay someone to create keywords for you. It's your profession. You know what you've done. Make sure that all the important tasks that you've had are enumerated in your profile, the keywords. What I wanted to show you was boxes are links to my YouTube video. You can make your profile multimedia. I also have links to my podcasts, interviews I've given. On your profile. Your profile, and it can replace a website. Everything that I do on my website, I could do on a LinkedIn profile. Technically speaking, you don't, but you do need your LinkedIn profile. You also have profiles. You can create a company page. They're not really used that much. At the time that I made this slide, I had 50 followers on my corporate page. I barely ever use it. I completely forget about it when I'm doing a campaign. Once I sent out an update, the engagement percent. It's not at the time. Maybe if I put more effort about how they've gotten business through their company page on LinkedIn. I appreciate it if you wait until the end. That way I'll get through it. I think it came in late. We have to be out of here in 45 minutes. So it all depends on your personal. You can very selective. I got this message when I had 30,000 first-degree connections. You and this LinkedIn user don't know anyone in common. Now, if I got that with 30,000, most people don't even have 1,000. If I reject this gentleman, sorry to pick on you, all right, maybe I don't like him. Maybe I have no need for him. But he has second-degree connections and third-degree connections. I'm also rejecting his network. And as a recruiter, I don't want to do that because I never know. I could send him a message or he could see an update that I'm looking for somebody in a profession other than his own, but it happens to be his best friend's profession. He's going to share the message with him. So when you reject somebody, remember you're also rejecting everyone. A connection is a follower. As soon as you accept someone as a connection, they will become a follower and will be notified about your updates, photos, and posts, which we're going to talk about in a second. A follower is not necessarily a connection, a first-degree connection. I have about 600 more followers than I do first-degree connections. Now, there are things you can go to grow your network. One, they've got the stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. There are people who swear by these. The thing is, anyone who is a lion, quote unquote, has 30,000 first-degree connections, which is the maximum. With them, your network will grow exponentially because you get their second and third-degree connections. I don't know how true. I've gotten a lot of success with toplink.com. It's not a group on LinkedIn. You go to them, they provide lists. It's free. Every week they send out an email with 8 Excel spreadsheets, 8 or 9. It's about 1,800 email addresses, and everyone on it has agreed to accept invitations from strangers and not to respond that they don't know them. I had one career counseling client who did this. He was thrilled. He got about 600 new connections in a matter of a few days. And then after that, it goes down to 20, 30. After a while, 20, 30 every week, it becomes a significant number. Now, there are 3 things you can do on LinkedIn. I mean, there are more. You can share an update. You can upload a photo. You can publish. To share an update, you click on Share an Update. get that dialog box. Says, what's on your mind? So you write whatever you're going to write. You can include a URL. Where the arrow is pointing, it says share with public plus Twitter. You can share with only your first-degree connections. Sorry about that. It's okay. All right. No matter. Should I use the handheld? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. There are people in the overflow room? Oh, okay. All right. So you're sharing an update. You write what's on your mind, and then you decide who's going to see it. Only your first-degree connections, the public, or the public and Twitter. So I always do public and Twitter. Why would I want to keep my words of wisdom to only a few tens of thousands of people? I want to reach 430 million. So I was quoted on a website called recruiter.com. The article was called The Top Resume and Cover Letter Mistakes. And no, I did not write in the update, I just got quoted on recruiter.com. It sounds obnoxious. What I wrote was, not getting interviews, learn what you may be doing wrong. Then I put in the URL, and this here, the top resume and cover letter mistakes with the photos populated, so that way I knew that the system worked and the connection had been made, and then I shared it. Now, for our financial services people, you can't do this. First, you wouldn't be quoted in the article, and I've spoken to some, and they said you can't even share articles on financial services. But people do business with people they like. So you have hobbies. Share a good article about your hobby. Other people will then consider you a resource for that hobby, and when they need your professional services, they'll go to you if you're able to build a relationship with them. I don't only post articles that I've been quoted in. If there's a good article I find, I post it. I want to be the resource. If somebody needs assistance with career counseling or recruiting, anything employment related, I want to be out in front. I posted an update about a career counseling special I was given, and when I logged on, this is my homepage, it said 649 people had viewed that update. So you get traction. But remember, I have 28, 30,000 first-degree connections. If you only have a few hundred or a couple thousand, you're not going to get 649. I had a problem, so I asked a question. First time ever I had a client who wasn't going to pay me. In the end, they paid me. I asked for advice. 809 people saw the question. Got good advice. Didn't need it, but got good advice. Then I got an update, or a notice that somebody else had published an update. And this says, this well-written post written by Bruce Hurwitz warns us to think twice when posting non-professional or purely personal commentary on LinkedIn. Why? Read on. The most important part of a LinkedIn profile for an employer or recruiter. There is a reason that I read that, and you'll understand in a few minutes. Next, upload a photo. You click on upload a photo, you get the normal dialog box, you find where the photo is, you upload it, you include a caption. It's very simple. This woman does not like the fact that LinkedIn is becoming a dating site. Okay? Drives her crazy. In the middle, she mentions Match.com. At the bottom, I wrote, I still say I'm right, and I included the URL for the article that was just mentioned, the most important part of a LinkedIn profile. for recruiters and employers. I'll explain why in a minute. This is WeWork. This is the way it should be done. All right? You all know WeWork. Shared office space. They opened a new place. Nice picture, caption. Come, meet us, talk to us. Perfect. This gentleman, I saw this yesterday and decided to include it. All of his life, he built drilling rigs. Then he got laid off, and he started to build wood-burning stoves and custom fire pits. And they look very nice. They've got a nice design to them. He swears the base won't burn out. He's got his phone number, the price. It's an interesting approach. This one I don't get. I'm sorry. The guy goes to a bank and he sees that one of the employers has a shoe that's falling apart, and he takes a photograph of the shoe. So either he got permission or he didn't get permission, but he then posts a picture of the shoe online. 1,199 people commented on this upload. 242 liked it. God only knows how many read it. Yep, it's all LinkedIn. Was at the gas station and found these bullets on the ground, so I took them home. Did some research and found out they're from an automatic assault rifle. Really? People make me sick. How are you just going to let these kinds of things lie around? SMDH, which I understand stands for shaking my damn head. Anyone wish to come to guess what my response to this was? No. Go ahead. Very good. It was down after 5-6 minutes. I couldn't find it again. It wasn't even in my link or my feed. So they took it down. I went to Google. I just Googled it to see what would happen. Somebody had posted it on Google. There are websites that when nonsense like this goes up, they immediately post it and debunk it. Now, this is easy. They're screwdriver bits. They're screwdriver bits. I have them in my toolbox. All right? People will post anything. Now, I don't mean to disillusion you, but I'm a straight shooter. Not everything that appears on the internet is true. Sorry, better you should hear it from me than a stranger. This one I just like. Little boy was posted by his grandfather. He lives near Fort Hood, and when revelry sounds, the soldiers stop wherever they are. They face the flag at the fort, and they salute. So he probably asked one of the soldiers what they were doing. They explained it to him. So now when he hears revelry, he stops, faces the fort, and salutes. But what I liked about this picture is, look at what he's looking at. He's looking at his shadow. And I just think it's a cute picture. So my point is that you want to upload, engage your connections on LinkedIn as a professional, and always professionally, but you can also let your own personality come through. Publishing a post. You click publish a post, you get this. You can add an image. It's not critical. You can add an image. You can write your headline. Then you write the story. At the end, have a blurb about yourself, because not everybody's going to know who you are. And you have to assign tags. And when you start writing, the tags will automatically appear. So in this case, resume writing. The tags determine the category, because you want LinkedIn to include it in a professional feed. In my case, it would be staffing, recruiting, career counseling, whatever. You will get notifications when people interact with your posts, your updates, your photos. So in this case, 5 people shared, 30 people liked. This is the one I was talking to you about. As of yesterday, 3,131 people have viewed it. On the back of the yellow sheet that I gave you, you have my top 40. It's no longer accurate, but top 40 posts. And we'll get to those in a second. I got fed up with the idiots posting politics, religion, screwdriver bits. So I wrote this post, and every time somebody would do that, I would include a link. Something weird happened. I get an email from a gentleman who says, I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm fed up with you including the link to your post every time some idiot publishes something on LinkedIn, because then what they've published gets into my feed. So the question is, when is promoting a post too much? You can't overdo it. I don't do it anymore. I did it for a couple weeks, but I got 3,000 people to read it. I posted the URL every time somebody published some nonsense. I would write, this is inappropriate, here's why. You shouldn't do this, here's why. And 3,000 people read it. This is the one that I don't know. People were coming to me as marketing and branding experts. They'd give me their business card, and they'd have a Gmail account or a Yahoo account. So I wrote this post, what a Gmail account says about a business owner. If you're doing marketing, you have to understand that repetition is key to getting recognition. You have to see the ad at least 5 times. Every time someone gets an email from me, they see hsstaffing.com. Every time they send me an email, they see hsstaffing.com, which is my main website. They don't see Gmail. I'm not promoting Gmail. I want to promote myself. It's basic. 2 hours after it went up, I had 435 people click on it. The next day, it was up to 4,000. The day after that, it was up to 9,000. Now, it's over 10,000. A simple little pet peeve that I had, and it just took off. Now, what goes viral? I don't know. Last week, 10 days, I published 3 articles. I'll explain the one in the far left in a moment. But how to sell bikinis and anything else had yesterday 313 reads, 23 likes, and 5 comments, all positive. I'm not in retail. Creating a personal business plan for your job search. Only 54 people read it. That's my wheelhouse. This one here, why the U.S. presidential election is good news for older workers. That doesn't appear. That's my wheelhouse. 117 people have read that one. I believe that it's helpful if you have a number in the title. The 5 things you need to know about. 6 keys to whatever. If there's a number, people seem to read them more. But I honestly don't know. I don't think anybody does. But to get the word out, you have to publish a tweet. You have to send out a tweet. And this is what you write, and you've got it on the sheet. You send the URL and a blurb about the article, and then you include tip at LinkedIn Pulse. All right? And then someone from the LinkedIn Pulse team will get it, and they'll decide whether or not to promote it. What goes into their thinking, I don't know. Some are not. I can't tell you which are and which aren't. But you should always do this. The tip at LinkedIn Pulse, and again, it's on your on the sheet, the handout. Why do you want to send out a tweet? Because tweets can be retweeted, and that's what happens. And it's nice. You will also get messages. which is nice. People may not officially like your post, but they'll send you a nice message. And if they do like it, then it gets into their feed and into your feed, and one thing leads to another, and you get more and more. What you want to do is to go to your profile. In the edit mode, put the cursor next to View Profile As. There's a drop-down menu. Click on the last thing, which is Manage Public Profile Settings, and then click Posts to make sure that your posts are included on your profile so that everyone can see them. Just because you get very few reads, for this article it said at a given point, it's changed now, but that only 6 people had read it. But I had sent out an update announcing that I had published it. 346 people saw the update. All I want to do is be in front of them. I don't care if they read it. I just want them to know that I'm doing it. All of this got me to the top 1% of views. Doesn't mean that I got a lot of business out of it. I did get business, but a lot is subjective. But I was viewed in the top 1% of my network, which at the time was just shy of 27,000. All right? Being at the top 1% of 27,000 is a lot more significant than being at the top 1% of somebody who only has 500 connections. You can join groups. When you join a group, you can participate and even lead discussions. That gets you your reputation. Financial services. Join groups that deal with hobbies that are of interest to you. Get your reputation. People will send you messages thanking you or criticizing you. When this woman sent me an invitation to join her network, I responded with this email telling her about my services. That's how I get a lot of career counseling clients. I knew that she was looking for a job because, it doesn't appear here, it says open to new opportunities. So she sent a message, and I responded to it. The message in her profile headline, that she's open to new opportunities. Quick case study. The lady on the left is Candice Galick. She has a company called Bikini Lux. She sells bikinis. She started posting photos of models wearing bikinis, and all hell broke loose. She got taken off of LinkedIn. Then they reinstated her, and people came to her defense, and people attacked her. They accused her of everything under the book, up to and including prostitution. It became ridiculous. I came to her defense, as did a lot of other people. It's a legal business. There's nothing immoral about it. What's the big deal? One thing led to another, and she agreed to be a guest on my podcast. It was a great show. She's very smart. She's articulate. She's professional. And she posted a post a couple weeks ago on interviewing for jobs. So I responded by saying, if you're going to start writing about jobs, I'm going to start writing about bikinis. And the idea was to see how many people would read it, because it's not in my industry. I'm not in retail. My industry is staffing and recruiting. Well, as of yesterday, 313 people had read it. But what's interesting is their industries: oil and energy, information technology, marketing and advertising. Also staffing and recruiting. There is no one in my network in staffing and recruiting. I got rid of all of them. I needed to make room for people who would use my services. The titles of the people, 24% sales, but then CEOs, business and corporate strategists, founders, partners. In other words, there's no rhyme or reason to this. When you publish something on LinkedIn, the world is going to see it. This is my blog. What I like about my blog, which is WordPress, I cannot sign you up. You have to sign yourself up. So if I enter in your email address, you're going to get an email asking you to confirm, and you won't, and you'll also be upset. So I like this. What I also like is it's linked to social media. So the minute I publish something on this blog, an update, an announcement about it appears on LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, and Facebook. This is the biggie. Help a reporter. It's really called Help a Reporter Out, but I guess that domain had been taken. It is a free service that brings journalists and sources together. You sign up as a source. It's free. 3 times a day, you're going to get a list of questions from reporters on every conceivable topic under the sun. This can also provide you with ideas for your own posts. When you respond, I've got a number of rules, but the 3 most important are, first, tell them who you are. Establish your credentials. Don't pitch to them. They want a story about A. Don't talk to them about B. They're not interested. Your audience, going back to what I said before, is the reporter. The reporter is telling you what he wants. This is not rocket science. That's what they want. That's what you give them. But you have to be the first to respond, because I'm also, or was, classified as a reporter, and within a very short period of time, I had enough quotes. I had enough responses. So you want to be amongst the first to respond. And when that happens, this can happen. This person on July 1, 2015, contacted me asking me if I'd host a webinar on video interviewing. Why? She had seen me mentioned a year and 3 months earlier, or in an article that had appeared a year and 3 months earlier on a website called Get VoIP, which I had never heard of before in my life. Here's another one, Cheat Sheet. They quoted me once, and then they published another article, and they quoted me a second time. So that was a twofer. A couple days ago, I got this. My name is whatever. I'm a veteran who is in a substantive career path direction challenge. She had found me on Forbes. The last time I had been quoted in Forbes was July 24, 2014. These things have staying power. So, would you rather be in the Wall Street Journal or Cheat Sheet and Get VoIP? We're almost out of time, so I'm going to answer the question myself. I got very few responses from being quoted in the Wall Street Journal. I got a lot from these dinky little websites that nobody's ever heard of. 3 things I always do. I thank the reporter when the article comes out. I share the link with to the article, and now reporters call me. Hootsuite. It's a great tool for scheduling tweets. You can schedule with the free service up to 45 days in advance, and you can promote whatever you want. It connects to 5 different, the free service connects to 5 different social media sites. So when I send out a tweet, I do it this way, and it automatically appears as an update on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Obviously Twitter, but Google+. This is what it looks like. And when you put in the URL, here there's a box that says shrink. So you put in the full URL here, you click shrink, and you get the bit.ly. You can see that it's taken. All right? Hashtags. If you're on Twitter, how many of you have Twitter accounts? Okay. If you're on Twitter, you should be following yourself. In other words, getting notifications whenever you're mentioned. But you can also follow your competition. Simple example. Gentleman was in a hotel. He was having a terrible time. reservations were not working. It was awful. He sent out a tweet with the hashtag and the name of the hotel. The hotel didn't respond. The hotel's competitor did respond. Said, come over to us. We'll give you a room. He went over there, got a room. Be creative. Customer service is key to building your brand. If people are talking about you on Twitter, you want to know it. This works. This is Google Analytics on my website. 17.5% of my connection, of visitors to my website, this is not exact, okay? For technical reasons, not important. But 17.5% come from LinkedIn. I was quoted in an article last time, July 30th, 2015, on a website called Business Insider. I'm getting about 7% of my traffic from them. And it continues on. Blog Talk Radio, you can't see it, I get a little bit more than 1%. Financial Post, 4%. I have YouTube videos. I have 6 YouTube videos. They're on my website. A link to YouTube. About 100 people on average have seen all of them. I use this service, BSR, or this software, BSR Screen Recorder. What I do is a PowerPoint presentation. I record what's happening on the screen. So I don't have to worry about lighting. All I have to worry about is sound. Nobody needs to see me. I don't want them looking at me. I want them looking at the screen. Blog Talk Radio. Podcasts. As I mentioned before, I have 2. This is what it looks like. I interviewed this gentleman. He's a veteran, has a nonprofit, good connections. We had a very nice listenership. It's recorded live. The link would go to here. And you can listen from the internet, from Blog Talk Radio, or you can listen from your own website. I have 2 companies. I also have Fishhook Books, and I'll do simple websites. If you need something very elaborate, the gentleman in the back, Gil Efron, is the person you want to talk to. But for something just very simple, straightforward, I use GoDaddy. I had this up for this woman in 4 hours, a 5-page website. I interviewed her on the Chambers podcast, and we wanted to have the link to the interview on her podcast, on her website, and this is it. This is what it looks like. Lastly, as I mentioned, I'm the chair of the Chambers Entrepreneurs Network. On your yellow sheet, there's a link to a website that I'm going to take down in about 2 weeks' time, because the main link is now up on the Chambers website. But if you are interested, for business owners, on September 15th, we are having here, thanks to Helena, and I want to thank her, and I want to thank Alex for the help with the audiovisual. We are having what we're called Ask the Experts question, lawyer, accountant, marketing, etc. Come, it's free. You can ask any question. If you sign up, I will share your name and email with the chamber, so you'll be on the official list. And I thank you all profusely. Now I can take your questions. Somebody over here had a question. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sure. Sure. No, when you're putting in your contact information, it'll say websites. Put in the link. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That comes, you go on who's viewed my profile, and then there's a tab for who viewed my posts, and it goes, and that's where that came from. It wasn't who viewed the profile, it's who viewed whichever post. Sir. The question is, I forgot, and I apologize to the people in the adjacent room, I forgot to repeat the questions. The question is, the gentleman is a photographer, should he accept invitations from other photographers? You may very well need another photographer. For collaboration purposes, it may be worthwhile. I'm not sure that you want to go around stealing other people's customers. If you're interested in collaborating with them, that's fine. I've never had a good experience collaborating with recruiters. So this is being recorded, so I'm not going to go any further. So it's your call. Ma'am.
So I was under the impression that it wasn't advisable to connect with folks on LinkedIn with whom you had no personal
Okay.
connection. And what you seem to be saying is a bit different.
Yes. The question is, Letty says that she was advised not to connect with people she does not know. Well, if you know everybody that you're connecting with, what do you need LinkedIn for? That's number one. Number two, quick story. I was doing a search for an economist in Columbus, Ohio. I contacted all of my contacts in Columbus, Ohio. One of them, regardless of industry, just location, everybody. There were 48, I remember the number. One very nice lady responded and said that she has a customer, a client, whose husband is an economist and he's looking for a job. So she put him in touch with me. I submitted him. Never in a million years would I have thought that having the owner of a beauty parlor as a connection would be useful to me. But she was.
Do you have any parameters or
Yes, yes. Because I need to make room. Do I have any? Thank you. Do I have parameters for who I accept or reject? Because I want to make room for people who can use my services, I took everybody out who was not in the United States. I took all the staffing and recruiting out. The only industries I won't do, and you can tell by the photos, it's a little subtle, but you'll get the hang of it, is if they say they're in the entertainment business and it looks like it's the adult entertainment business. That's about it. And you will also get phony profiles, and they usually come in bunches. When I see that I have 10 requests, all from attractive women, and all the photos look like stock photos, and I open them up and there's very little information, they have no connections, and it just looks fishy, no. Sir? For grants? For brand. Can LinkedIn be part of a marketing strategy for brand? Yes, that's what I did. I forgot to mention, Candace, the lady from Bikini Lux, was asked publicly. It was on LinkedIn, so I'm not hesitant to share this. What were the results? You did this whole campaign. What happened? If I remember correctly, she said that her revenue increased 20%. This works. Create buzz. Establish your reputation. What do you stand for? Sir.
Bruce, you had a slide near the end of the lecture that showed the different percentages of. Where did you get that information?
Again, you go to where did I get the information on who had viewed my posts by industry. You go to who's viewed my profile. You click on that, and one of the options is who viewed your posts. If you click on that, then you will see your individual posts, and you click on the individual post, then you get the demographics.
So that is on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's on LinkedIn. Sure.
So I have over 500, which made me happy to see 500 plus connections.
Uh-huh.
But I'm wondering, so I sorted everyone who knew me in college, professors, just to build my network of those
Sure.
that I know. But I see that the amount of people accepting is probably like 10 or 20% at certain times.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a family member who said, you know what, like that's because it's LinkedIn. Like, no one cares about LinkedIn. Is there a way to kind of increase that percentage of those that you know, if they, you just want to increase them seeing you and accepting?
Well,
There's no reason for them not to accept
Okay.
you. You know that, you know? So it's like, how do you increase the amount of outbound?
the question is, how do you increase the number of people who will accept your invitations?
Yes, of those that know you.
Of those that know you. So I would contact them. I would send them an email and say, listen, I sent you an invitation on LinkedIn. Please accept it.
Doesn't that seem desperate in a way?
Well, it's the only way you can do it. You can't do it with a stranger.
Well, is there a way to, so you know how you press connect?
Yeah.
Is there a way to send a message to them without knowing their email address? Because that's the problem I find sometimes.
Well, okay. So the question now is, can you send an invitation to someone whose email you do not know? With LinkedIn, if too many people reject your invitations stating they don't know you or claiming it's spam, your account will be restricted and you will only be able to send invitations if you know the person's email address. When that happens, send customer service a message saying you don't understand why your account was restricted, maybe for that reason, maybe for something else. They'll explain to you the rules. You agree henceforth to follow the rules, you will be forgiven. Once. Yes.
As a follow-up,
Mhm.
my sensibility on your question is, if I get a message through LinkedIn from somebody asking to connect with me,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell me how they know me, and why they're interested in connecting with me, I'm much more likely to accept than if I just see somebody who I have no idea who they are.
This lady just said that she will read the message attached to the invitation and base her decision on that message. That works if people read the messages. All right? I get so many that there's not enough time in the day. So I just look to see where the person is located, what their industry is, and then I accept or reject. One more question. Hey.
In regards to connecting people you don't know versus who you do know, if you're intending to message people about internal hiring and job opportunities and learning more about cultures of companies that you don't know, isn't it better to only connect to people that will know who you are when you ask for that request, so that there's
Okay, the question is really building a relationship with someone you only know on LinkedIn but don't really know. You will not be shocked to hear that I don't actually know all the 28,000 people in my network. But if they're in your network, then you can build a relationship with them so they get to know you. By publishing the post and the updates, they'll know who you are, hopefully. Mr. Efron. I usually spend, because I'll go to the different groups to see what's happening. How much time do I spend on LinkedIn? I'm guessing on a day, half hour or so.
How long has it taken you to get to this level that you can manage this with?
How long has it taken me to get to this level? Years. You see, I will do work on LinkedIn. For example, if I'm trying to find a candidate for a position, that'll be hours, but that's sending off messages. This stuff, which is what I'm referring to now, half hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoy it.
Hi there, I'm
Hi.
Anita.
Hello, Anita.
I'm also a photographer, but my question is this.